Madam Speaker, I want to support this motion for adoption of the report. In the words of Right Honorable Raila Amollo Odinga, the report may not be perfect, but it's work in progress worth supporting, and I do support it. Madam Speaker, it is important to note two areas which I think are the most urgent. I will not cover the rest. One, it is important to note that under Article 89(2), the window we were given for reconstitution and re-examination of the boundaries of constituencies actually expires this month, the 8 to 12-year window. It is extremely important that we adopt this report and then move the necessary constitutional amendments, which I want to suggest should be the first standalone constitutional amendment, to extend this period, perhaps not so much to tie to a year, but to tie to a period. Instead of 8 to 12, we could say 10 to 17. We will have resolved the mischief that the report is trying to resolve without getting into the quagmire that we might be if we try to do this thing before the next election. Secondly, is the audit of the 2022 general elections. Most people fear this because they think we'll be re-examining and revisiting the declaration of results and who won and who did not win. Far from it. Article 81(2) of our Constitution is very clear. Every election, and it's not just for the president, every election must be transparent, it must be accountable, it must be efficient. And those three words ought to be demonstrated at any time any Kenyan wants to see how it was done. It will bring settlement, not just for the past, but for the future, in terms of the elections when we are moving this way. Now, I know that this kind of report requires goodwill. For us to move forward, we will require that goodwill. I am not quite sure why we've taken 4 months since 25th of November to even table this report here. I do not know whether that is consistent with goodwill. But I do know, having been in the first process, that we were beleaguered by absence of goodwill at certain stages. I want to really urge that if we are to go this way, there must be goodwill. I want to say that contrary to what some people think, this report is actually not inconsistent with the judgment that was issued by the High Court just a fortnight ago. Indeed, in that judgment, the judge correctly observed that issues like constitution of the panel is a political question that should be left to politicians under the political doctrines question. But the judge found it necessary to come to that judgment because the process was delaying. Had we started this immediately the report was out, we'd probably have forestalled that kind of decision. But there's nothing lost because the judge is saying, do this within 90 days. The report is recommending, let us do it within 90 days. It is possible for those 90 days to coincide if there's goodwill. Even if we didn't, if there was goodwill, it is possible for the two principals who initiated the process to have a situation where there's consensus and discussion in terms of the names that will be recommended, so that when the names come here for the IEBC commissioners, we do not end up in voting and confrontation as sometimes we are given to. Having said that, Madam Speaker, I want to say that there are areas that will require more careful navigation. It is not to say we don't adopt the report. As we adopt it, we will require more careful navigation. One of them is whether we require a referendum. My casual glance of the report suggests we will in 4 different areas. The second one is this thing of recommending a Senate of 7 years. That will require us to really re-examine a number of things. The third one is the idea of a staggered election. There's a host of reasons why the general election is held on the same day. And if we are to interfere with it, we have to navigate very carefully. Lastly, Madam Speaker, is the question of the leader of opposition and the office of the Chief Prime Cabinet Secretary. We will have to re-examine our structure of government because the report does not go that far. It does not say whether these officers are to be in this house and what role they are to play. That is left for us. So, Madam Speaker, I support with the caution that we need to start thinking more in terms of giving intention to the report. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Member for Sigowet Soin, Honorable Justice.